I literally stood over her grave and said, "I promise I will be your voice."
Yeah.
So speaking and using words and writing, that's kind of my art,
Mhm.
my way of being creative is to speak the words. But for her, I was like, there are going to be things that she needs to say through me that she could not say, and there's still things coming through um,
Mhm.
that I know she wants me to say.
I'm Becky Brower, and I'm a Sendy Mom. Welcome to the Sendy Mom Podcast. Well, welcome to the Sendy Mom Podcast. I am so excited to be here with my friend Cherie Burton. We have been friends for probably, I guess it's like 8 or 9 years or something
Something
like
like
that.
that.
Yeah, since we've been back from Australia. So no, I was totally drawn to Cherie from the very beginning. Like she has this like deep wisdom and this personality that just like is loving, like is very accepting of all types of people, which totally fits with what I feel as well. So I'm excited to have this conversation with you, Cherie. This is going to be amazing.
Thank you, Becky. I'm excited to be here.
Yeah, so I'll just give a really brief bio of Cherie. She's the mother of 6 and has been a female empowerment coach for over 20 years. Her work is with mind body, holistic emotional health, healing, philosophy, spirituality, and depth psychology. She has a psychology degree and has worked in mental health facilities and is a certified holistic practitioner and emotional breakthrough trainer. And since 2008, she's specialized in aroma alchemy, which we're going to talk about a little bit, and the ancient feminine art of mind, heart, and soul coherence through breathwork, anointing, and essential oils. So right now she runs an international wellness business, and she travels the world teaching, and she has a podcast that is on pause right now, I think, but programs, circles, retreats that she does for women to teach them about their authentic essence, speaking from their heart and experience real emotional liberation, which I love that so much because that is so much of what I love to do in Sendy Mom is to help people to come to understand who they are and what and to accept who that person is and then to have power around that because as we learn more about ourselves, then we have a lot more power to do more things. So, yeah, so I'm so excited to talk to you, Cherie. This is going to be so
Yeah.
good.
Yeah.
Yeah, so can we let's go ahead and start out by let me just ask you, what do you think makes you a sending mom, and why would you want to be on this podcast?
Well, I had to look it up. Um, and I did ask one of my teenagers, but yeah, I'm a very like move to action. Like once I get the gut go ahead, like, yep, I kind of just do it. I just kind of go for it. I'm
Yes, you
always
do.
just like kind of adventurous that way. So
For sure. Yeah. And okay, so tell me a little bit about what got you to this point, like how you like where you grew up, kind of a little bit of background of your the way that you grew up and kind of the family, the type of family that you grew up with.
yeah. So my dad was a policeman for my whole life. And my mom was a stay-at-home mom, and I'm the second of 7 children. And not to drop the vibe too much, I have an amazing family. We're all very, very close, but a thread or sort of a theme in my family that I noticed very early was depression. And my mom was in depression, in bed with depression a lot, having my after she had some of my younger siblings. And we lived in a really small town in Wyoming at that time, and there was just not the awareness about mental health that there is now. Both my parents have a lot of mental illness in their family lines. Like my dad's sister was bipolar, and she actually um, took her life when she was 32. And in her letter that she left behind, she asked my parents to raise her 3-year-old son. And so
My
that happened.
goodness.
Actually, I was getting ready to serve an LDS mission when that happened. So I was about 22 when that happened. So I wasn't raised with him, but Yeah, so that's how we got the 7th sibling, or the 7th child in our family. But then also on my mom's side, she lost several of her cousins to suicide, and just a little bit of trigger warning. I mean, I can make light of it now. It's been a long time, but sometimes you just have to be a little bit more lighthearted about some of these heavier subjects. But so I have, like I said, I have 6 siblings, so 3 brothers and 3 sisters. And I'm right in the middle of 2 sisters, 1 a year older, 1 2 years younger, and both of those sisters were diagnosed bipolar. It's one of the reasons
Okay.
I went into psychology. And then, the only one that wasn't diagnosed bipolar of the 7 kids, including the cousin that my parents adopted, was me and another sister. And so this mental illness theme has kind of like I just kinda joke that I collect bipolar people, and I don't mean that necessarily in jest. It's just how that my life was set up. Even the 2 children that my husband and I adopted are both have bipolar birth moms. A and that's why I got into the holistic emotional healing part of it. Because as a child, and I was a very highly sensitive child, I still am, um,
Yeah.
and I just was like I remember writing in my journal when I was in high school, and I'm like, something something needs to change in our family, and I am gonna figure this out. And when
Wow.
I do, I'm gonna help people. I just knew that growing up. I don't know why my constitution was different, why I had a better immune system or I had a better, like, resiliency to mental health or whatever. It's not that I haven't had my struggles, but, like,
Yeah.
thing to the degree like, I was visiting my sisters in psychiatric facilities in my 20s, and in 2005, so I'm 57 now, this would have been when I was 35, right? Um, my sister that's 2 years younger than me took her life and left behind 5 children, and that was absolutely it's been a while now, but that's a year older, and then I have a sister 2 years younger, we were just a big boom, 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 and then my parents waited a while and had more kids. It was just like we were the 3 musketeers and we did everything together, and this sister, she had a lot of mental health and addiction struggles. She had a painkiller addiction because she had, a full spinal fusion when she was a teenager, and it just created problems when she started having children, so
Yeah.
she was, a very gregarious, larger than life artist, musician, beautiful, talented, amazing singer. She had scholarships, like lead stage actors for plays. A lot of times we see with bipolar in that family pattern, they're usually high creatives. And then they,
Right.
have these gifts, but then they also, sort of have that melancholy
Like really low lows and
low
really high
lows, high
highs.
highs. Yeah.
Yeah. Right.
So that sort of rocked the trajectory for me personally, our whole family, but especially for me, because having lost my aunt when I was, in my 20s and then my sister in my 30s, all these babies left behind and just me really like, we've got to break this family pattern. Like me and my surviving sisters and mom, we were like, okay. And we just prayed. Yep. I actually was Mrs. Utah in 2004, and it was 3 weeks before I was passing on my title that she took her life. And so I was in the public spotlight. I
Yeah.
working actually with the Utah Attorney General at the time, Mark Shurtleff, and he put me on the state suicide prevention council. And I had like a megaphone at a rally one time, and I was like, "The cycle of suicide stops here. I don't know how." This is
Yeah.
2005. I don't know how, but I know, like, just that mama bear. You know how you just are like so protective of your family and the pattern.
Yeah.
And so that really, I remember so I self-published a book on depression the year after that, and one of the things I wrote in there about my sister is that I literally stood over her grave and said, "I promise I will be your voice."
Yeah.
Speaking and using words and writing, that's kind of my art. I'm not a singer.
Yeah.
I'm not a lead stage actress. I'm not an artist like a lot of my siblings, but
Mhm.
my way of being creative is to speak the words that the spirit puts in my heart and speak from the wisdom that I know. And that is something I'm continuing to refine. But for her, I was like, there are going to be things that she needs to say through me that she could not say. And there's still things coming through um, that I know she wants me to say. And I'm actually in the middle of a book that I had hoped to be done by now. But anyway, so my family are, I've had people say, your family's the closest family. Like, you guys are the closest siblings I've ever seen. Like, we, I've almost lost two of my brothers to addiction. Like, even though it's been like this roller coaster of mental illness and addiction, and it's like it's almost like we have this knowing that we're the cleanup crew
Huh.
and we're the ones
Okay.
that are just going to be like, through love, like this ends here.
I love that thought so much. We're the cleanup crew and it ends here. This cycle ends here because you really can just decide that I mean, we have things in our DNA, right? There are different things that we pass down, but at the same time, we have agency. We get to pick, what we're going to hold on to and what we're going to pass down to next generations and everything. And wow, that takes an awful lot of courage to take hold of it because that's deliberation. That is like being deliberate about your life and about changing the trajectory of your family. That's amazing.
I mean, and it's been, quite the journey because my older sister, and she doesn't, I have her permission to share this as I've done different speaking and stuff about
Hmm.
these family patterns. But so at the time of Shauna's death, my sister that we lost, she was on over 12 different medications to manage her bipolar symptoms. And she
Wow.
lost a lot of her creativity and stuff, and it just felt like numb.
Yeah.
But then my older sister, the one a year older, literally as we're gathered at my house, when we got the news, she turned to my mom and I, and she goes, "She beat me to it." So my older sister had a suicide plan, and
Yeah.
she was on just as many medications as that sister that we lost, Tanya. So Tanya's the older, Shauna's the younger. So it was almost like in that moment, it was just tremendous, tremendous grief that just shocked like it just literally, I've never been the same since. Like it
Yeah. So
changed
what
me
kind of,
on a cellular level. But
and
we
that's
knew as a
scary.
family, like, yeah, like we just kind of knew in that moment, like, oh, oh, okay, here we go. Like
Yeah.
you'd asked me earlier, like, why are you a Sendy mom? I come from Sendy women.
Yeah.
Once we get it, we're off to the races. So
Hmm.
and so that just set the tone for my career and my path as a mom. And even as I gotten older, I used to say it was all about that. But now, that I'm in my 50s and I'm inching towards 60, I'm like, this was about me. This wasn't about who I'm here to fix and heal and save and activate, teach and bless and nurture. And it's about me. It's about this temple and this body.
That's amazing. My goodness. Wow. Okay. So tell me about this. So 12 medications and it still didn't fix anything. Right? So
Well, I
so
mean,
tell
it's
me
like it's
how you can have hope when you are, like, because I don't want to say, if that's what you need to get yourself back on track or whatever, or, everybody can make their own decisions. It comes back to agency again, right? But at the same time, like, there are probably other ways that you can manage that might be even more effective than the medication, right?
well, that's it. Shauna's husband would not allow her, and I say this out of respect, like it's just the truth, would not
Uh-huh.
allow her to do anything natural or alternative, even though that's my mom's world. That's my other sister's world. I wasn't in that world yet. But that
Uh-huh.
is one of the reasons, just to answer your question, like all the pharmaceuticals, all the talk therapy, it just wasn't moving the needle. And it was actually kind of making things worse, exacerbating. So that's why I pivoted to looking outside of the traditional Western remedial treatment box because I knew that those traditional, and I worked, this is the irony too. Shauna had been in a 90-day treatment facility to help with her addiction to painkillers, and she was clean. She didn't actually relapse before she died. She overdosed, but she took a drug for her bipolar symptoms, so she hadn't relapsed in her addiction. But I was working in an addiction recovery center just around the corner from where she was staying. And so I was a family education director at that facility while my sister was losing her battle to mental health. And so, yeah, it was really, yeah. So all the pharmaceuticals, and it's almost like there was like a veil or a cloud or a block. Like we found her journals afterward, and she just for 2 years she stopped praying. She was a super spiritual person, but she stopped praying. She felt so much shame. She felt unworthy of being a mom, like all of these things. Her kids were 12 and under when she died, from ages 2 to 12. And she just, there were some other cultural things I think that contributed to her demise, but ultimately, like, there's something that happens when you lose someone really close to you that way. It's this survivor guilt. It's like suicides. They experience this, like, what could I have done? Or I can't be happy because this or that. And so I've had to work through a lot of those feelings, but it actually was an engine that propelled me to learn more and do more. We're outside the box. That's now mainstreamy, but 20 years ago, you would have thought I was a freak for talking about holding emotions in your liver or epigenetics, or, I just dove into that stuff because I knew there was something to it and that it would ultimately, like plants and what's on the earth and the chemistry of what God's already put on this earth that can help us with our healing. And so anyway, yeah, so it was quite the wake up call to um, recognize that everything we need for our healing is already here on the earth. Each one of us have our own encoded health plan or alchemy to be able to come in. We're so diverse that way, even if we're in the same family. So finding that has been my fascination, finding my own,
Okay.
then broadening it. But I actually reversed it. I broadened it first and then I found my own, which is a whole other story. Because
Sometimes it's good to get
I
the
think that
big picture,
well, I
right?
was just conditioned to, like, fix everyone else, and then that will be
Yeah.
great, right? Like, kind of that savior complex thing of, like, "I'll figure it out. I'll crack the code on depression. I'll heal the world."
Yeah.
And inside, I'm like, oh, there's so much ancestral heaviness with mothering
Mhm.
depression in my family lines, like, unreal, and I have felt it. I have felt it a lot. So I can
Can you
and
process that for your ancestors?
I do it constantly.
Wait, how do okay, show me tell me how that happens. Like, how does that work? Because 'Cause I've heard this before and I believe it. I'm like, because I we are all connected. Like everybody in the world has we've got these little threads. We're all part of the same organism, really. And so, particularly when it's passed down from generation to generation, I think that it's very important to understand where you came from and then to help to heal some of that. So how do you go about that?
I started this path right around the time I became a coach because I was so fascinated with, the mind body stuff, but also like generational healing and I went into some weird arenas, but I didn't care. I'm like, I'm just going to explore. I'm not going to judge what I find. And if it doesn't resonate, it doesn't resonate. Like, I'll drink pig urine. I don't care. Like, it was just, I was so, and my mom and sisters too, we were just like, okay. But with the generational healing piece, I've come to understand that our closest guides on the other side are often the ancestors that held something in their bodies that they could not alchemize while they were here for whatever reason, whether it was the Earth's level of consciousness or their environment or their belief systems or whatever, and that they come through for us to help not clean the lineage, but first to help us in our bodies, just our bodies.
Okay.
It's like one at a time. Like you're saying, we're all one. There's only one of us.
Yeah.
It's just many faces of the one, right? But in family lineages, I believe we chose exactly, okay, I want to be born at, in my case, 4:32 a.m. in San Diego to this family, this mom and this dad. And I want these
Okay.
siblings and I want this heritage and I want this inheritance because it's going to be really cool. It's going to be like Disneyland. I'm going to come down, I'm going to figure it out. Like,
Yeah.
but ultimately it's not Disneyland. It's
Right? Because we don't know what we don't know, right?
like, no, thanks. But when I dip into the only way that you can actually shift or activate a healing response for your generational lineages is to feel it to heal it. So
That's so simple. Like,
it's actually not, because your bodies and your ego is not, it's not equipped or built to take you there. If something's arising, it's always an invitation to feel it. But situationally, we can't always do it right when it comes, but our body's intelligence will naturally wait until we're safe, whether we're in a safe relationship or a safe container somewhere, and then these things will come up and you were like, "Well, I was doing so good, and I thought I
yeah.
took care of that," but it's like, "Oh, there's another layer, and this really isn't about me. This really is not about me. This is about what's come down the pipe."
Right?
And what I
Okay.
so I'm a really deep feeler, and I love that about myself. And it's also it can be an Achilles heel for me to put up walls and guardrails and stuff because I do feel things so deeply. But I know that when I am in my depths and really feeling the things that I am being invited to feel through my body, that I have support. I have that ancestral support. I have even my grandchildren that haven't been born yet. They're like, "Thank you, grandma. Like,
Yeah.
we won't have to alchemize this piece because you did." And even my living children.
So I love that the word alchemize. Tell me a little bit about alchemy and how you cleanse it from your own body.
So I think the old way is just release it, get it out of me. I don't want it in there. It's really uncomfortable. I'd rather not feel this. I'd rather not think this. I'd rather not this be my experience internally. There's this thing called shadow work, which is a Jungian term, depth psychology, where you're kind of going in and you're like, you're not like you're diving into the shadow, which is not evil. It's just a part of you that is not integrated
Okay.
or seen or witnessed.
Mhm.
And we all have them. And so this kind of work with alchemy is taking something from one form and putting it into another form. So it's like transmuting something versus just getting it out. Because
Okay.
wisdom is being able to hold polarity, hold tension, hold shadow and hold the light at the same time, which is what God does. And because God is holding everything and we are
Mhm.
part of that. And so our human experience and our epigenetic pipeline has given us these shadow states, if you will. And if you believe in past lives or the preexistence or whatever, we wanted to come and learn these things because we didn't understand them before we came here. And so we wanted to have a shadow experience. We want to experience separation. We wanted to experience what it's like to not be in heaven. We wanted to experience being split from our home. And so the work with alchemy is, oh, well, you can generate all this wisdom when you integrate the shadow and the light together. And if you can embrace your shadow rather than judge it, condemn it, be afraid of it, etc., then it will inform you. In fact, I study something called the gene keys, which is based on your astrology. It's a very beautiful, really deep program on consciousness and how we have these core wounds. And part of the gene keys understanding is that in order to access your genius, your gifts,
Mhm.
you have to go into the corresponding shadow for
Okay.
gift. So if I wanted the gift of wisdom, I have to be in this gift of like ignorance or not knowing or feeling inadequate.
It's like, oh, like the weakness, like the opposite side.
Yes, yeah. So
Okay.
you could
All
look at it
right.
like that for sure. We all have weaknesses, we have shadows, we have blind spots, we have
Mhm.
little demons inside of us. I don't know what you want to call them.
Yeah.
But when you embrace them, feel them, shine a flashlight on them and say, I see you and I still love you and accept you. That's when everything alchemizes, is when everything breaks open and changes. So I wish I had that mastered. I've been studying this for a long time. Oh, it's it's really not work for the faint of heart. It's
Okay.
easier to bypass these things and just say, I'm going to pray, fast, worship, go out in nature. And those things are beautiful and those things work, but the real work of alchemizing the shadow is to embrace the shadow, feel it, notice it, love it, instead of, this is evil, this is bad, I shouldn't feel this way, this is so uncomfortable. Oh my gosh, and all this tension in the body. And then the shadow just keeps building and building and building underneath you. And it's just going, hey, it's little me. I've been in here well, and you won't notice me. And so I'm going to get louder. So
Okay.
that's the alchemy process is just taking those shadows and loving them and bringing them into the light and integrating them for our wisdom and learning.
Okay. Okay, so yeah, I think I mean that's big, right? And this is kind of some different kinds of thinking for people to kind of experience that. Oh, I have this other shadow, but at the same time, I think that we all have a bit of an understanding of this, like at least some sort of a feeling that. Actually, yeah, there is something else in there. There's like some other type of spirit or something. I actually was just talking to a friend yesterday about this, and she's like, it's almost like there's something else in me that just needs to say something. And and this body here is just kind of carrying that around. And so what I kind of am hearing from you is that's kind of what you call the shadow or part of the soul. And I mean, and when we like part of our purpose here on earth, like kind of what you're saying is that we are experiencing this earth life, right? That includes the opposition, that includes the light and the dark together, and they're all important. And it's important to be able to feel all of them. And we do like hold on to them, and that's what makes us sick because we're like because anytime you think about tensing up, if you tense up for too long, you're going to start hurting. Like your
Yeah.
muscles are going to start hurting. And so if you're doing that inside your body, then it's going to go to different organs, right? Because, when you're feeling anger or you're feeling sadness or whatever, where do you feel it? Well, I mean, everybody feels it in different places depending on your fight and flight response, whatever. But, a lot of people are going to feel it right in their heart and, and get heart disease and, or I feel it in my gut, and everybody has gut issues and liver and kidney and whatever. And not to say that that's always the case, because
Right.
sometimes the physiology causes the emotions too, I think. But very often I think it's the emotions that cause the physiological
Yeah,
state
because
as
the
well.
emotions are, and it's really important that we don't judge this process. Like you were talking about your friend, like I think we've been conditioned to think we did something wrong and that
Yeah.
that's why this is there. But this is truly, truly universal human experience. Like
Yeah.
we feel every emotion. And if we're not feeling every emotion, then we're not human. Why
Yeah.
even here? And so part of that work is compassion, compassion, compassion. It's like, oh, I noticed this. But yes, I mean, this is a process of slowing down, feeling your feelings, feeling where you're holding tension in your body. Because, like you said, that constriction, it creates tension in the body and it can actually create a myriad of health conditions. I know for me, I can look back and see where I was experiencing different things and where I was holding it in my body. But here's the thing, by the time something manifests physically on the surface in physiology,
Hmm.
it's had an emotional root, an energetic frequency root cause for a long time. And it's not our fault. It's
Yeah.
how we interpret our environment. There's all of us have trauma. Being born is traumatic,
Yeah.
absolutely traumatic. So from the time we were born, we were in trauma. And all the research supports too that if our mother was experiencing different emotions, we picked that up in the womb too. And our grandmother was pregnant with us, the egg that became our mother. So we also picked up our grandmothers, maternal grandmothers, not to mention all of the DNA. But anyway, so all this trauma, all this pushing down and suppression creates depression. So when you
Okay.
suppress or you are oppressed in your culture or environment, you then repress and you get depressed. So there's all this pressing down. So that
Wow.
energy of pressing down. I'll feel this when it's more convenient. I don't have the time or space for this right now. I'll come back to
Uh,
this. That's actually an act of pushing it down.
yeah.
So I have learned to trust my body's intelligence for timing,
Yeah.
that it will only let it come out when I can be in a place to process it, to
Mhm.
feel it.
And so do you do breath work, some of
So yeah,
the
I've done parts
aromatherapy?
internal family systems theory, or
Okay.
internal family systems therapy, and that's helped a lot with parts work. And you can do healing the lineage work with generational healing and parts work. There's so many modalities. I've done a lot of somatic work, breathwork ceremonies. I've even done plant medicine ceremonies in the ayahuasca in the jungle in Costa Rica in 2021. I don't recommend it, but it was calling to me at the
Okay, wait. Okay, yes, tell me about this. I
yeah,
need
yeah,
to hear.
yeah,
What the
yeah.
heck?
Yeah,
Okay, what was
me being
this?
too sendy. No, when people started mentioning the latest research, I'm like on the forefront of research of mind body holistic stuff. And so
Yeah, because you're
everyone's
so
talking about plant
open to
medicine.
all of it. I love that so much.
And so I'm like, okay. And then I watched a documentary on it and then I could not stop thinking about it. And everyone's like, well, that's the medicine calling you. And it's a very feminine, it's like a grandmother plant. And I was like, okay. So I started
Uh,
researching safe places. I found this place in Costa Rica that's like has a medical facility and a doctor who was actually at BYU at one time. And I was supposed to go in 2020, had the trip booked, but COVID
COVID,
happened.
of course.
So I went in 2021 in February and
Okay.
4 nights in a row. I actually did a dieta to prepare
Uh-huh.
for it for 3 months, like plant diet. I was super intentional. I went to like energy workers to get me grounded. I did all this research. I came in really prepared. Um, so I did it 4 nights in a row with indigenous shamans, and there were about 50 of us. And
And is
I
it
was
like mushrooms or something? Or is it
no,
kind of that idea?
ayahuasca
Or?
is it's a more powerful psychedelic than mushrooms. It's got a different
Okay.
it's like a vine medicine from yeah, there's a whole tradition with it, but
What's it called again?
ayahuasca, Ayahuasca. There's so much on the internet about it, but
Okay. Yeah, no, this sounds
I
familiar. I think that my friend Rachel Farnsworth might have done this too. Maybe I think in Mexico, but it
mm.
sounds very familiar. So keep going.
No,
Yes.
all I can say about it is that I'm still integrating what happened. I had fairly benign experiences the first 3 nights, but the 4th, I don't purge. I didn't purge, and most people do. So I held the medicine in me, and I was alchemizing a lot of things. But I was the one person. There's always one person in the group that completely freaks out, and I'm a very private person. I'm a very like, I do my sacred work alone. Like if I have to process
Uh,
something, I'm usually so this was me freaking out. Like they had to take me outside, but you know what? All I can say about that experience is that it unplugged me from some matrix of what I was trying to already heal in my family, and it allowed me to get a reboot. Um,
uh,
and there were a lot of things that happened. It was safe. I was very safe, but I also have never experienced anything so transcendental in my life. I mean, it was horrific at first, and then it became very spiritual. And then it became, oh my goodness, like I was seeing things and how things connected in my life and brought me to this point. And he actually had a statue of Christ on the property. I'm the way, the
uh,
truth, and the life. And I felt very comforted that I was held in that space too, but it was just different than my upbringing. It was different than anything I
okay.
ever because it was experiential and it was direct contact, not only with my psyche and my subconscious and my spirit, but the earth. You're talking about how we're all
Uh-huh.
one. So I felt that and I saw that, and that was so new to me. And I had never felt love like that before, but I had to go through like these initiations to get there and
Uh-huh.
release a lot of things that I didn't need to be believing about my
Yeah.
life.
Okay.
So again, I
It's like taking a 32,000-foot look at yourself, right? And being able to look at yourself outside of your body, which is really difficult to do, which is why we search for therapists or coaches to kind of help us to see
yeah.
ourselves. But that's kind of interesting. You're able to see yourself basically
Well,
through.
and I had a team around me because I believe I had something like a near death experience. That's the best way I
Okay.
can put it. But I had
Uh-huh.
a shaman on this, like a gentleman shaman on this. This is them taking me outside. Everybody else was already out of the medicine, but I'm like the one. A gentleman on this side, a female on this side, and they were just so kind and loving. They were indigenous shamans and they knew exactly what I was going through. And they were
Uh,
comforting me and saying, this, you're doing the most work of anyone here. Like you're in it, keep going, you're safe. Like, and I had like
yeah.
staff members coming in and it was very, for someone like me who doesn't like to be like
Center of
Was on
attention or
display while I'm having a
yeah.
weird freak out.
Uh-huh.
It was extremely beautiful and extremely terrifying at the same time. So,
Wow.
because all of my safeguards and strongholds with my ego and all the things, like, it just started to just, "Oh, you thought this? Nope. Oh, you thought that about yourself? Nope. Nope. You're no more special than anyone else.
Yeah.
You're not any more
Actually,
special than anyone else."
right?
I'm like,
That
"What?"
actually was huge for me when I realized that. I read have you read The Courage to Be Disliked? That
No.
book?
Sounds good
Okay,
though.
so yeah, no, it talks it's a lot about Adler's work when he was a contemporary to Freud, but believed completely opposite from him. You know, Freud was very much into, you know, let's research the trauma, let's go through this again and talk it over, right? And Adler was more about like, there's no such thing as trauma. It's because everybody experiences, like what you said, everybody experiences the same thing. If we call it trauma, then everybody has trauma, right? And so he was much more about like, let's look at what you're choosing to make your life from here on out. And let's talk about that rather because we can't change what the past was. And so
Mhm.
we can actually get through a lot of these mental illnesses if we approach it that way as like, what am I going to do from here rather than let me fix what's in the past? Although that's important too. And I think this generational work that we're talking about is really important. But in that book, they explained that you're not special. And that was like a revelation to me and it was actually a huge relief. Once I realized that it actually didn't depress me, it opened me up. I was like, that means like nobody's special. I don't have to be special. I can just be who I am. I can be
Yeah.
totally imperfect and messy and all of that. And I don't have to live up to anybody's standard. I don't have to live up to anybody's expectation of me. I don't even have to have an expectation of myself. I'm not
Right.
special. I'm a normal person. And this is
Yeah.
really good news,
Yeah.
right?
And I think,
Yeah.
yes, I love that, and I'll have to check out that book. I feel, and I've read different teachers talk about this, like when you heal, this is why this holiest work that you can do is right here.
Yeah.
Period. Like
Uh-huh.
mothering everything else comes completely second to this.
Yeah.
And so
Like
when
just
when
yourself right
just
in front of
your
yourself.
body temple,
Yeah.
like it's really
Yes.
happening all right here. The whole
Yeah.
universe, everything's going on right here.
Mhm.
And so when you shift something or you transmute or heal or alchemize something in yourself, you're doing it for everyone because, like we said
Yeah.
before, we're all connected. So that's a
Yeah.
very Christed way to look at this kind of work.
Mm.
That when you there's this thing called conscious suffering when you know like, oh my gosh, I'm suffering, I don't, all my tools aren't working, I just have to sit and feel this. In those moments I really feel closer to Christ. Now, this is not martyr energy, and I know there's different ways to think about this, but
Mhm.
I recognize that the work that I'm doing has already been held that way,
Mhm.
and that we're continuing the work that got started in the garden with his life through this alchemization. And so, yeah, there's so many ways to look at this, but I really, really feel like when we're looking at the whole of humanity and the whole of creation, we aren't special. We're very Marianne Williams says, "We're very special and we're not special at all."
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And so that ego and getting, because I don't know about you, but I was just raised like, "Oh, you're the Lord's special chosen, da, 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 and you're
Yeah,
so, da, da,
chosen
da, da, da,
generation
da."
and all of that
And I had
stuff.
all
Yeah.
this programming around, all this pressure on myself.
Yes.
And it was very performative based and my works were performance based worth type. I've always been kind of a high achiever. It's like hard worker.
Yeah, Mrs. Utah. I
Well,
mean, like, yeah,
well,
all of that. No, I mean, but that's
yeah,
where those kinds of things lead you because, and there's nothing wrong with it. And actually you can do a lot of good with those kinds of things because then you do have a face to be able to share all of these experiences that you're having and knowledge and wisdom, right?
it's just, yeah, it's
Um,
just like I have no desire the older I get to like put a crown on or like be in front of a microphone. Like I love
yeah,
talking, but ultimately, like I just want people to learn if they're interested.
yeah,
Like this book I'm writing is not a how-to book. It's not a
uh-huh,
personal development or whatever book. It's my story, my life, what's happening in my body. And if somebody, my human woman self, and if
Yeah.
anyone can relate to my story, and I think that's where we're moving. I think the
Yeah.
age of like the gurus and the special, motivational speaker people and stuff. I've been in that
Uh-huh.
realm, and
Yeah.
it's very egoic. It can be.
Yep.
There's people who do
Mhm.
it very well, but I noticed that when I lifted the curtain in that world, there's
Mhm.
a lot of imposter, like they're not doing the work, they're saying it,
Yeah.
but they're not embodied in the actual work. They just love
Mhm.
talking about it and they love the idea of having followers. And so
Mhm.
I took a step back for lots of years just to make sure that I was lining up with exactly what I want to say. Like, for
Yeah.
instance, being my sister's voice and exactly what my soul wants to say. And and I don't have to fix anything, like you were saying, right?
Yeah.
It's not up to
Uh-huh.
me to heal the world. Yeah, it's very, like you said, it's kind of liberating. We're like, "Phew, well, now that I think John
Right.
Stein, what is his name? John Steinbeck or whatever. He's like, well, now that you don't have to be perfect, you can be good.
Yeah.
It takes
Oh, I
all
love
the
that.
pressure off of
Yeah.
performance and productivity. And it's just, oh, here's my heart.
Yep.
Here's love.
Yeah. And so when you are, I just want to go really quick back to this healing of emotions. I have heard, and I believe this story because it makes my life better, and I like believing stories that make my life better. But that those chemicals that get released when you have an emotion, they have a half life of 90 seconds, and
Mm,
that actually was really helpful for me to realize, like, oh, okay. So if I'm feeling anger or irritation or, some negative feelings that I don't want to feel at the time, if I can take that 90 seconds out and I can just go process that, but with breath and like feeling it in my body, recognizing, okay, where it's moving to, talking to it, like you said, like, oh, hello, fear. I see you
mhm.
there. Yes, I know you're really scared and it's okay because you got to get that out, right? Then after 90 seconds, I actually have kind of moved on to a new emotion. It really doesn't take that long to do it. I mean, it's going to come back up again. It always does, right? But
Yeah.
I think the more we practice it, the
Mhm.
less often those things come up because of exactly what you're saying. Like you're giving voice to this shadow part, along with the light. We're not repressing it and depressing and suppressing and all of those things. We're not pressing down. We don't have that tension anymore because we're allowing it to be free. And I think
Yes.
that's
And
it's not that.
there's another piece to this that some people who are listening might be experiencing, so I just have to speak to it.
Mhm.
There will probably come a time in your life where you do those things and you're still feeling heaviness. You're still
Yeah.
feeling and you're in like plunging the depths. And they call that the dark night of the soul, where you didn't do anything. It just shows up. It's like,
Yeah.
are you ready to release all? Are you ready to die? Are you ready to let your identity and your persona die? In the sense of like, you're more than this. You think this is what you need to portray to others, but you're actually you are
So
the I
much
am,
bigger.
so much bigger. We all are. And so part of this process for me is dying after dying after dying after dying to what I think I knew and just being open to what life is going to present to me. Because I do trust that whatever shows up on my path is meant to be experienced in some way. I
Yeah.
have really strong boundaries. But I also know that sometimes I have to get out of my head and let my heart just be open to receiving whatever is wanting to reveal itself next to me. It could be a person with a message, it could be a book that falls off the shelf or a podcast I just happen upon. There's so many ways that this happens for all of us. And sometimes
Mhm.
it comes cloaked in a form you would never ever expect.
And so
Usually it
so
does.
your advice then is to just be open when it comes.
Sometimes a dark night of the soul, and I will tell you this, and I was when I first met you, I was starting that, okay?
Uh,
It's been on and off for 7 years now, me just surrendering, learning,
oh,
opening. I've had really blissful, incredible experiences and connections and learning and wisdom and calm with the world, but then there's also been this, like, little tension underneath that's sometimes it builds and it waits until I'm ready and then poof, I'm down. I'm feeling it. So dark night of soul is going into the unknown. That's the whole point of it. If you know everything and you like it's all laid out for you, there's no openness there. And so that was horrifyingly terrifying for me because I
Mm,
love predictability, I love certainty. I love to
yeah.
know and just being open to the mystery, which I believe is very much like Heavenly Mother and divine feminine energy. And that's sort of the mystery schools I dove into is like, this is supposed to be a mystery, all of this.
Mm.
And when you come to accept that on a really deep level, that's when everything starts to align. It's like,
Yeah.
oh,
Well,
I
that's
don't
when
have
you start.
to know. I just have to love and trust. I don't have to know, you know?
Right. Yeah. Well, and that's faith, right? When you
Absolutely.
just,
Faith is not knowing.
right.
Faith
Well, and
is
all of this is just a story anyway, like all of it. And so you just choose what parts of it that you want to believe, like what's going to make your not necessarily happy, but make your experience exactly the way that it was meant to be. I think it was Amy Antonelli that I had on the podcast a few months ago, and she said she called it she quoted I think Neil M. Maxwell or something saying it's our
divine.
divine curriculum, but it's something like but I put on there that it was co-designed. And
Mhm.
like kind of what you were saying too is like, hey, I picked this out before I came to Earth. I want to have this experience, and I want to, and this is how I want to grow and things like that. And if we only knew what that actually looked like from the onset, like we wouldn't have any fear. But that's part of the reason why we have to come
We
in
didn't really
this.
even understand fear, I don't think. It was
No.
so beyond our, like,
Yeah. Capability to
but at
understand
the same
because it has to
time,
be experienced, right?
right,
All these emotions have to be experienced. And so part of the reason I guess why you have to do the alchemy is because you need to experience those emotions. That is like the whole purpose. And so if you keep pushing them away, you're not going to get the full experience that you need to have. So,
exactly.
oh my gosh, this has been awesome. But I kind of want to get into because you have had a very full life, and so and I think a lot of people can relate to the dark night of what did you call it? The
Dark
dark.
night of the soul. It's just a term that was used by Saint John of the Cross. It's become kind of a buzz phrase. Some people think it's happens when someone dies or something really bad happens to you, but that's not what it is. It's a spiritual crisis. You could call it a faith crisis, you could call it an existential dilemma, but it's something that happens where all of your strongholds and all the things that you knew start to dissolve and crumble. And so
Yeah,
the way I liken it is like, I was tethered to a mothership of a certain belief system,
yeah,
and by my choice, I was like, "I love this, it's safe, it feels good, da, da, da," but then, I start to have different things come through, and I'm like, "That doesn't fit that," and then the universe, or however you want to describe it, took that tether to the mothership and untethered me, and I went careening into outer space. I had no strongholds, no tethers. Everything I knew, everything came undone. And that is pretty close to what a true dark night of the soul is. It comes to you. You don't do anything wrong or you don't seek it out. When there's from what I've read about it, when there's like a sense of readiness for your next up level, it comes in, and it doesn't always have to be as dramatic as what I just said. It's just that that's the way I experienced it. Uh,
yeah.
but but when you stay with it, and I did a lot of things wrong. I judged myself.
Judged it. Yeah.
I was
Hmm.
in a lot of fear, but I had a lot of people midwifing me through this who had been
Okay.
through it before from all different countries and life stations and ethnicities. It was really beautiful. And that's one of the reasons I started my podcast. I interviewed hundreds of women who'd had very similar, not all of them had dark night of soul experiences, but a lot of them did. You can tell when there's been an initiation in someone, there's a
Hmm.
different depth. And I wasn't really completely finding that in my immediate environment, and as I look back, I was asking to be shown women who were fully empowered, fully using their spiritual gifts, fully in joy, fully in their, essence of who they really are, and I meet a lot of women from all walks of life that sort of embody that, and I needed that mentorship.
Hmm.
And
Yeah.
I remember just meeting with someone in Australia, actually. I know you spent time in Australia, but
Uh-huh.
met her through my podcast, and she's incredible. But I booked a session with her because I just felt like, okay, there's something she's got that I need or something. And and then I just launched into all my existentialism, and she's like, Sheree, stop. Stop your shedding. Like, she just was that voice that was saying, "This is what's happening.
Yeah.
Here's what you're gonna go through next. And then after that, this." And she literally kind of gave me like a loose template. It was so validating. Like, I thought I was going crazy. I thought I was
Huh.
literally following the family pattern of
Yeah, going
hysteria
to
and mental
right.
illness.
Yeah.
But a spiritual awakening does mimic a mental illness. Um, so there's a lot more we could say about that. I'm probably going way too like crazy.
No, no, I love this. This is so helpful because I don't think you're the only one,
No, I know
obviously.
I'm no.
And if there's a template, then that could be actually really helpful to people. So what is the template for
So when I get my book written, I'll let you know.
Okay,
But
perfect.
loosely,
Yes.
I kinda already said it. Like,
Yeah.
when you surrender to the unknown, we create safety by predictability
Yeah.
and certainty and knowledge, but the acquisition of knowledge does not actually create safety. It's a false sense of safety. So so it is the act of, like, it could be meditation or prayer. For me, it was deep prayer, like guttural, like
Mm.
in nature, in fetal position kind of prayer, like letting
Wow.
Mother Earth hold me multiple times, multiple times.
Mhm.
Um, and so the surrender part, and I know that word is kind of scary and can mean a lot of
Yeah.
things to a lot of people, but all it means is just letting go of what you know
Yeah.
and allowing yourself to be taught in your body.
Well, and I love the way that you explain it as a death. It's like letting that part of you die so that you can grow something new. I mean, it's almost like a purging, right? Like we
Yeah.
purge forests, get burned so that you can have new life. It's a very natural thing to happen. It happens in the earth all the time, and so if we use the earth as our teacher, then we can learn those
Yeah.
processes. It's all part of the evolution and the recycling program of God, right?
Yeah,
To do that.
yeah,
So that's
absolutely, and
amazing.
I like recycle because that's what alchemy and transmutation are. It's not
Hmm.
completely purging it out, but you retain, you purge the toxicity, but you retain the lesson. You
Yeah.
retain the learning, and that is the opposite of attaining through knowledge, through
Hmm.
reading or listening to stuff or having a guru or a trainer, a teacher, a mentor, whatever.
Hmm.
It's like through your body and your inner authority that gets activated when you say, I don't know.
Yeah.
A lot of
Mm.
people go into prayer saying, please confirm this for me, instead
Right.
of, please open me to receive whatever is right for me. And so
You know,
that was a
yeah.
shift.
So, okay. And do you read Dan Brown at all? I'm
I
just
have,
going
yeah,
to
the
tell
Da
you.
Vinci Code and stuff like
Okay.
that.
Have you read The Origin? It's kind of
Mm-mm,
I
mm-mm.
think it's his newest book. Anyway, so he talks about the halo that we see in these paintings and everything. And a lot of times, the light coming out of people's heads if they're inspired or whatever. And actually what he reveals in that is that it's not the light going out, it's actually light coming in
Hmm.
from the universe, from God, whatever. it's
Ah,
it's it's indicating that transformation really, and that light that is coming in. So I love that
that's beautiful.
imagery of it. I thought that was really beautiful. So
Yeah, and um, we are transmitters of that light. We are also receiving signals of it. And I think for women, where we get tripped up a little bit is that we open ourselves too much.
mhm.
And this shows up in our relationships mostly, but we open ourselves to over serving, over giving, over delivering, over explaining, over, right?
Mm.
And I think the beauty of what you just shared in that visual is that we are receiving it. And only when we stop, and this is what I was a busy bee the first 50 years of my life.
Yeah.
Literally did not stop. And it was until I stopped to reflect on the depth of my own heart and what was happening and really got clear and took a time out that I was like, "Oh my gosh, I've been ignoring my body's signals for decades." And
Yeah.
so yeah, so I
So
think
do you
that
feel like you've been able to like and your sisters and your mom have done some of this work as well? Like do you feel
Mhm.
like you've been able to change the cycle in
Yeah.
your family?
Oh, absolutely. It's not that
Yeah.
we're not perfect and we still have struggles, but, like, no, that's a done deal. I
Oh,
feel like, you know, it's been such a landmark moment, my sister's death, that sort of,
yeah.
like, put a jolt into this, it's like she was kind of a sacrificial lamb, and I'm not glorifying suicide
Yeah.
whatsoever, but it wasn't until that happened that we really looked at the depths of what was creating the pattern. There's patterns, and
Yeah.
it's helpful to know what they are, but what I've been climbing into is what created that pattern for her.
Mm,
Pattern come online. I have my own patterns,
yeah.
but I think she's been wanting me to understand what created some of her patterns, and it's different for
Yeah.
all of us, and I've had her come through a lot. I've had her put words in my mouth when I'm speaking, um,
Wow.
and, I'm really close to her oldest son who was 12 when she died, and I feel her come through me to mother him in a way,
Yeah.
and so it's been beautiful to witness, like, I know that everything is gonna be okay.
Yeah. Yeah,
Some
isn't
of us
that's Julian of Norwich that we were talking about last week,
mhm,
that's what she said, "And all shall be well, and every little thing shall be well." And I love
absolutely.
that because
Mhm.
that's
That's
if we
hope.
can get to that point, yes, that is hope. And so I just repeat that to myself when I'm in those depths of despair sorts of moments.
I hear
So,
you. Yeah, yeah.
man, and we all go through them, and that's why this is important that we talk about this because this is life. This is real life. We all have these periods where I think it's probably more normal than most people think
Oh,
that
if they're not talking about it, their body will start talking
right. Yep, and I see that
because
all the
we're all
time.
carrying it. When I said we're the
Yeah.
crew, it wasn't just my family. Everyone
Yeah.
who has a body right now is the living benefactor of generations that have gone before them, and that's why everything is in commotion right now, is because we're the ones who are like, "I'll come down here at this time, and I'll feel these things,
Yeah.
and I'll experience these things, and I'll help be part of the solution instead of the problem." And so I really
Mm,
believe that. I think when you were talking about once you feel something for 90 seconds, that's really
mhm,
true that whatever is coming is going. And if we can
mm,
just remember this too shall pass, this is only temporary. Even if you're in this long extended dark night like I was, I had moments of sheer spiritual illumination and incredible connections with other humans. It wasn't like it was dark the whole time, but I was in a lesson. I was in a percolating lesson underneath, even though I was going through my life and doing all the mom things. But underneath, there was this thread of just like, wait, there's more coming. And
yeah.
I didn't know. I, I didn't know what I believed. I didn't know. I just started
Mhm,
extrapolating from different sources. But now I'm just resting into integrating. That's where I'm at right now.
yeah. Well, and that's the thing is like it you lead yourself to those places where you're going to find the answers. If you're open for it, open to it, then they will find you, I guess.
Oh, yeah.
Those answers will. So, and well, and I was just going to say this, the 90 seconds rule actually, like I will set my watch and time
Oh,
it
nice.
sometimes. Like I'll go sit in my bathroom and I'll be like, I'm so irritated right now. And I don't get angry very often, but it is a normal reaction, right? And so this was the first time, and so that's why I'm remembering. I was really irritated with my husband about something, and it wasn't the first time, but I decided, okay, I'm just going to go ahead and feel this, and I'm like, I'm going to try this and see if it actually works. And so I put my timer on. Well, I put my stopwatch on to see how long it lasts, and I'm like, okay, I'm feeling irritated, and I was thinking about all the reasons why I was irritated, and I'm like, okay, it's kind of in my stomach, and now it's coming. Oh, it's kind of going up a little bit. I feel in my heart, whatever. And then after a little bit, I got distracted and I started thinking about something else. And I was like, oh, I'm kind of done. I'm not really irritated anymore.
Yeah.
And then I got
The
up and I got
future.
on
That's
with my day.
awesome. I love how you just notice where it is in your body. I mean, because that is it. And also there's this other thing called sacred rage. It's okay to be enraged by some of the things that are happening and that have
Mhm.
happened. And I think that collective rage is in us too, especially from our others. But at the same time, like there's so much, like I said, the highest state of spirituality is happening right here and holding polarity and tension.
Yeah,
Human and we're very divine and we're very human. And so
yeah,
holding that, that's why I love studying about Mary Magdalene and the Gnostic Gospels and stuff, because that's all about those teachings that didn't make it into the,
yeah.
nice scriptures, but it's all about Christ affirming that we are divinely human. And
Mm,
so for me, I'm like, one of my Achilles heels and shadows is I go straight to judgment, not typically with others, although that happens because I'm judging myself. And I know if I'm judging someone else, I'm really judging myself.
yes,
And that's my
absolutely.
biggest work. And I learned that through Gene Keys and other different intuitive things and journaling. It's like, oh, shoot. Well, I was conditioned to judge. And that's from the time I was little. It's like there's discernment and then there's judgment. But I think that I probably took in a message that I needed to judge
Yep.
and
Mhm.
to keep me safe and
Right.
to protect myself. And
And
I
it's
don't
a
need to
it
do that anymore.
well, and it's a collective thing. We're probably related, Cherie, just saying, like, we probably have a
Mhm.
collective ancestry that way because, yeah. No, and actually that's the first step to overcoming something is awareness of it, right?
Yep.
To be able to because I don't wanna be a judgmental person of myself or of others, And so I'm working on that myself, to be a little bit I'm trying to be really open, not just for to show everybody, like where everybody can see. I'm trying to do it for inside too, where I think kind thoughts, instead
Mhm.
of like or just even recognizing when the unkind thought comes up or for myself or for others and being like, "Oh, that's really interesting. My brain's feeding me that right now." Okay. And
Mhm.
don't judge it, right?
Yeah.
Don't judge that thought that I'm being judgmental, but being like open to it of like, "Oh, okay, that's coming up. All right. Okay, well, you know what? I'm going to try to think something different. What else can I believe?" And moving on. And that's where the coaching that I've been doing with Jody Moore has been really transformative for me to
Mhm.
understand that actually I do have some control over those
Yeah.
thoughts. I can recognize them and then I can
Yeah,
I
that's,
can change them.
the term I've heard for that is being the merciful witness. So,
Mm,
it's like your higher self is, like, resting back, watching your thoughts, and like you said, "Oh, that's really interesting," but a lot of us have the internal critic so loud that it overrides that merciful witness, and
hmm
I'm trying to integrate that too. Like,
Yeah.
it's a lot, but it's fun. It can be fun, it can be adventurous.
Yeah.
Like,
I
we can't
know.
take this all so seriously. I mean,
Right. I know. Oh my gosh, this is so fun. Okay. Hi, this is such a great episode. I loved my conversation with Cherie Burton. She has such amazing insights into being Sunday. I don't think I'll be trying Ayahuasca anytime soon, but I will be tuning into my emotions and trying to understand my shadow self a little more. Thank you for being a part of the Sunday community. I decided to break this episode into two. The next episode will be the second half of our conversation. Be sure to tune in. It's authentic conversations like this that keep me going and remind me that I am one cog in the wheel that builds resilient families, children, and individuals. The only way I can spread this message is through you. Please screenshot this episode or share it on social media and tag Sendy Mom. Let me know what you learned and how Sendy Mom is blessing your life. It also helps me spread this message if you review it and like it on your favorite platforms. If you haven't yet subscribed to Sendy Mom, just go to sendymom.com and subscribe there to get ideas about how to be more Sendy and to take the next step in your Sendy journey. While you're at it, send the link to a friend who might need the encouragement. I truly appreciate you and will take good care of you. Do you want to be more Sunny, but you're not sure which direction to go? I can help you identify your next courageous step. Set up a coaching consultation today by going to the link in the show notes. Be considered to be a guest on Sendy Mom. Please fill out the form that is in the show notes as well. Until next time, keep sending it. In the words of Eleanor Roosevelt, do something every day that scares you.